So today I got a couple of questions. I feel like it's not recording. Okay, great, it is because earlier I had a echo and now I don't, so I'm very happy. I had a couple questions about editing today. So since I haven't been able to shoot any videos during one of my sessions, which I really want to do, but I just haven't had an assistant to come out and work with me where I could shoot video and shoot photos. I haven't gotten any of that yet, but it's easy for me to pop in here and do a screen recording so I can share with you some editing tips. So I'm gonna first open my hot mess of photo collection here. There's like a nice trash can there. Um, so when I first started shooting, the person who was mentoring me recommended Aperture for my editing software. And I kind of regret not starting with Lightroom. Aperture is great and it does most of the same things that Lightroom does. However, Lightroom is what the majority of photographers use, and there's a benefit in that because there's awesome presets created specifically for Lightroom that don't work with Aperture. So I pulled a couple up. Nope, not there. Here. I will share links for all of this below. I'm also going to drop a video in the comments for setting your white balance with a gray card because that's one of the questions that I got today. And white balance is actually a common struggle that I hear people just stressing out over, and it's so simple to fix. So I'm going to go over a couple quick tips for setting your white balance and just for editing in general. But if you haven't heard of them, Greater Than Gatsby is a amazing editing preset company. They're one of the most popular ones, and it's really cool. So you can just go and choose a package that you like, and it shows you examples and usually has a tutorial on how to do it. And you can purchase it just like you would buy something off of an Etsy shop and download it and start using that. And they have like Lightroom and Photoshop. So it is a bummer that I can't use these in Aperture. I'm going to switch to Lightroom soon. I just haven't made the jump because it will be different editing flow for me, and quite frankly, I think I'm just lazy and haven't dealt with it yet. So Greater Than Gatsby is awesome. What I love and why I encourage people to use presets, especially for people who aren't necessarily doing photos as their business and for the artistic aspect of it, but they are just, well, what I mean by that is they're not taking photos, they're not a photographer professionally, but they are taking photos for their business and they want a really nice looking Instagram. Then presets are great because you can find one that you love. You can essentially batch edit all the photos you take, have that same preset, have a very similar, consistent flow with all of your pictures. And that, first of all, it's kind of occasionally you might have to do some tweaks. White balance is a really important one. You're going to want to set the white balance in your photo correctly before you put a preset on it. Just so occasionally you have to do tweaks, but it saves a lot on your editing time, and it just helps to have a consistent professional look. And you don't have to hassle with learning all the different ins and outs of Lightroom or Photoshop. So presets are the way to go if you're new to editing. This is another really popular one. I'm sure you've seen this look. It's really, really trending right now. The film look, so editing digital images to look like film. This is Jacob Loafman, and he has some awesome Lightroom presets. I'm curious, please let me know in the comments what each of you are editing with, if you're editing in Photoshop or if you're using Lightroom. I'm excited to sit down and play with Lightroom soon. I'm working with something else right now, so I stick to what's working with me. So really quick, I'm going to hop in. This is Aperture. Aperture is like maybe even an unnecessary step in my processing images. I do really, really basic corrections in here. I'm going to pull up this crappy photo. And then I usually edit in Nik, which I love. Or Photoshop, like when I did the Mom Life series, that involves some more heavy duty post-processing tweaks, so I use Photoshop for that. Okay, so this is a really bad photo. I hate having this on the screen right now. But I was just messing around in my kitchen one afternoon and grabbed my camera really quick and didn't bother setting my white balance before I took these photos, so I have that really yellow, just tacky lighting. So Aperture, if I don't do anything else but this to make this this photo a little bit better, first I'm going to crop off that counter drop off, and right over here, it's so simple. All I have to do is slide this for a much more pleasing lighting white balance. That's a simple adjustment right here, and I know Lightroom has something very similar. So that's how you can correct your white balance in post. And then again, please, if you're really struggling with this, watch the video below. So something else interesting I've noticed right now, these little droplets are bothering me, so I'm just retouching them out of the photo. That can be tricky with white balance is, especially if you're doing product photos, and depending on what props or backgrounds you're using or what lighting you have. So like if you have sunset lighting that's really golden, and then you're using a silver or white backdrop, those two very different colors could be clashing and throwing some weird lighting on your photo, like or product, where one side would be yellowish and one side would be white. So if you're going to shoot in warm lighting, like warm sunset or sunrise lighting, you're going to want to have a backdrop or a reflector, a gold reflector, that stays within the theme of that golden hue. I hope that makes sense. So like when I did, where are they? I noticed this fall when I was doing pumpkin patch pictures that even when the sunlight was hitting the pumpkins, like especially when my daughter was holding it here, if the sunlight was hitting it, it was making her face a little orangey. And something like that can be frustrating too. So maybe if you're not liking the way your product photos are looking, there could be something that's throwing an orange tinge on it. Like a lot of times if it's bright daylight out in the yard and I have something in the grass, I'm taking a picture of it, it's going to be yellowish because that grass is bright and throwing a weird hue on the product. Hopefully that's all making sense. So that would probably be one of the first things to correct, is have your backdrop and props be consistent, or put them in a better place where you can get the cool lighting that you want, or the warm lighting. Cool meaning is more like bluish and purplish hues, whereas warm, gold and yellow, just in case you were wondering what that was referring to. What else? I don't know if I should show you guys edit, because I don't know how many of you are using Aperture or Photoshop or Nik especially. I'm not sure. So I won't mess with this too much now, but please leave your questions in the comments. So if y'all do want to see some more editing videos, I can shoot that, because Aperture is very similar to Lightroom, so it could probably help you out a little bit. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped some of you out. If you have any questions, let me know.